Okay, let's take a comfortable seat, anything that is comfortable for you today. So, left hand comes up onto the heart space, right hand down onto the belly, and just roll the shoulders back and down. Just give the neck a little bit of a release. Dropping forward, dropping back, dropping to the sides, and just make sure that when you return, you're sitting nice and tall, but you're not rigid. We want a nice fluid practice a little bit today. So let go of any tightness and tension that you may be holding. Maybe choose to close the eyes or soften the gaze downwards. And find a steady breath here, breathing in and out of the nostrils. And because our hands are on our heart and our belly, you can already start 3-part yogic breath if you wish. So breathing in belly, diaphragm, chest. Breathing out, chest, diaphragm, belly. And allow that breath to bring you into your present. Really allowing yourself to be completely here in this moment. Not allowing your attention to be distracted or your thoughts. And if you're aware that your thoughts may have just moved away from your breath, return back to your physical presence as you sit, just taking in and observing how you feel. Give yourself a little body scan from head down to the toes. And as we come to the end of January, our Janatomy month, which was quite structured towards the physical body, we still continue with that. So always bearing in mind what your body is doing in space and what it feels like to you, rather than what the posture may look like. So there are certain things that we look for in an anatomy class and practice. So bearing those in mind, stacking the joints, always coming out of a posture if it's painful or uncomfortable. But with Yin, we always want to have a little bit of challenge, always want to feel the posture and work towards our edge. So always honoring your own practice as you come to the mat as you are, never really looking back to how it was in the past. Always taking the moment. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it's important to breathe. Sometimes we get too caught up in the task at hand and forget our most basic need, oxygen. Take a break and do nothing. We all need time to recharge. If we keep going non-stop, it can lead to burnout, and then we will be forced to rest. Rest should be a beautiful choice and a present that you give yourself, not a necessity. Abandon the need to do and be everything and allow yourself peace and relaxation and kindness to yourself. So for those who were in practice with us on Saturday, a lot of this practice will be familiar to you. So you can really tune in to how it felt on Saturday and how it feels today for you. Maybe drawing an intention, letting it rise up from your heart space into your head, into your mind, any intention that sits with you today. Releasing the hands from the body, sweeping the arms up on an inhale. Lift the heart, bring the palms together and draw the thumbs down through the center line of the body, stopping at the forehead, just resting the back of the thumbs into the third eye. Draw into that intention for clear and loving thoughts. Thumbs go down to the lips for clear and loving words. And the thumbs come back into the heart space for clear and loving intentions. Release the hands, lift the knees together, and just give yourself a big hug. Dropping the belly, the chest over the thighs, let the head relax between the knees. Giving yourself that hug and finding love and kindness for yourself through practice today. And then let's come to the back of our mats in kneeling. So this is quite a lot of kneeling in the practice today. So if you're on a hard surface, I would advise just padding out with a little blanket. And when you come to kneeling, you can always place a bolster underneath the back of the thighs, but make sure that the heels are drawing in towards one another so they're not splaying out to the sides. You're sitting nice and tall. The rib cage isn't protruding out, but you're drawing the rib cage in and down towards the belly. Bring the palms face up for a moment, roll the shoulders away, and feel that expansiveness between the earlobes and the collarbones, rooting through the legs, rising through the crown of the head. Breathe into the front heart space and the back here. We're going to come into a heart pose, anahata, or puppy pose. Slide the hands out, lift the hips. You can widen the knees just a little bit, but again, stacking those joints on top of one another so knees are above the hips. Relax and melt the chest down towards the mat. And you can always rest the head on a block here. Slow and steady breaths. Just notice what comes up for you as we go into our first posture. Remembering to breathe in and out of the front and the back body. Exhale releases any tightness and tension you're holding. The inhale sends oxygen around the body, to the hands, to the feet, to the head. A few more breaths here. Pressing the chest down, dropping the weight of the back towards the mat. Then gently lifting the forehead from the mat, looking forward, and then just sliding forward onto the forearms, maybe just bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders, keeping the knees down here into this just recovery position of forearm plank. You're pressing away from the mat, so you're widening across the shoulders, lifting up through the abdomen. And then from here, just keep the arms where they are, maybe just bring them forward just a little bit, and then just drop the hips so we come straight into a Sphinx pose. Maybe widening the feet if you need to, opening across the chest, roll the shoulders away, press through the palms, the elbows to keep lifted through the body. Dropping hips, pubic bone, hip bones are grounded. Gaze maybe just at the front of your mat so that the neck is nice in line with the spine. You've got space between the chin and the chest. Feeling everything that you're experiencing, any sensations that come up. You don't have to judge or criticize those, just observe and be a witness. Holding the pose, finding stillness. A few more breaths here. Nice and slowly, just press through the palms, lift the elbows and widen the elbows as you start to gently roll down through the rib cage. Bringing the chest down, and then the head comes onto the back of the hands. Bring the big toes to touch so that the ankles just fall out to the sides. And you can relax everything in this full prone position by just swaying out through the hips. So this is an all-over body yin sequence to finish our month of January off. Widen the feet. Make sure that the knees and the tops of the feet are face down. Fingertips come wide, or you might press the palms into the front as we come up into the seal. So just press up. Find where that seal is comfortable for you. Try not to allow the neck to sink between the shoulders, but keep pressing away. Everybody is different in your seal, but try not to turn the toes outwards so that there's a hip rotation. Drop the pubic bone and the hip bones down to the mat. Lift up through the torso. Breathe into the front and the back heart space. If you've come up too high to hold, that's okay. You can just shuffle the fingertips forward so you lower down a little. Or you may feel comfortable and bring the palms back a little bit. You're stretching through the abdominals. Few more breaths. Keep pressing the palms away or the fingertips. Relax the facial expression and slowly widen those elbows. Roll down, belly, diaphragm, chest. Bring the hands underneath the head once more. Big toes touch. Relax everything as you breathe out and sway from side to side. Bend the knees, lift the feet away and just windscreen wiper the shins. And then come back, hands come underneath the shoulders. Press back to tabletop. Find your neutral position in tabletop here. And then just a few rounds of cat and cow just to mobilize through from those back extensions. So just drawing back into cow as you breathe out. Opening up into cow as you breathe in. So breath is incredibly important. Last time, pull up into cat. And return to neutral. Widen the knees, bring the big toes to touch. Let's come to child's pose. So again, just dropping the belly between the thighs. Hands either in front of you or out to the sides or underneath the head. You might use a block underneath the head as well, melting the chest down. So some of our postures today are held for 3 minutes. Some are being held for 1. The longest we'll hold a posture today is 5 minutes. Try not to think of the length of the time in each posture, just really feel. Let yourself be immersed in your flow state as you hold and find stillness to the mind and body. Breathing out, letting go of tightness, tension, gripping, clenching. Breathing in, oxygenating the entire body, each and every cell. When we work with the heart chakra or the air element, it's all about breath and circulation. A few more breaths here. Breathe in, lift the forehead, walk the hands back as you roll up through the spine. The chin stays in towards the chest, draw the belly back. Come up to the kneeling position, bring the knees together. And again, just make sure that the heels aren't splaying out and they're underneath the buttocks as you sit nice and tall. Just realign through the spine, just allowing everything to settle once more. Coming up into a high kneel, you can widen the knees if you need to. Hands come to the base of the spine. Lift up and out of the lower back. You can look forward or you can take the gaze to the sky. We're only here for 1 minute, so it's just a baby camel. Try not to let the neck drop into the shoulders. Keep the shoulders and the ears nice and separate. Push the pelvis forward. You're going to stretch through those quadriceps, psoas, those intercostal muscles. A few more breaths. Doing great. Nice and slowly. Lift up. Breathe in. Release down. Hands come back behind you. Little quad stretch here. So lift the hips. Send the knees forward. Breathe into any tightness through the thighs. Try to relax as much as you can. Lift the hips a little more. Draw the belly back. So the knees, hips, and shoulders are aiming to be in alignment. A few more breaths, doing great. We're only here for 1 minute. Nice and slowly release the hips. Come back through that kneeling position. And we're going to come forward. So bring the hands forward. And this is an opportunity where if you've got your blocks handy, you can use those. So right foot comes forward into your dragon. So either foot faces forward or you can wing it out to the side as long as that knee tracks over your middle toe. Blocks can be on any level, lowest, medium, or high. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle and a few circles here, front and back. Just find some nice free movement before we find our lizard for a number of minutes. So make sure you're comfortable. Remembering to hold the pose and find stillness. Neck is in alignment to the spine. Drawing the belly back. And let's hold here in dragon. Keep working to retain the anatomy of the posture. Using the breath to release deeper. Letting the hips soften to the mat. Always allowing a little smile to arise. It does help. Breathing into the face, relaxing the jaw and the teeth. A few more breaths here. Nice and slowly, come back. We're going to go straight into our half splits. So if you've got those blocks, you can take them either side. Bring that right leg into the center. You're going to draw the toes up towards the sky. Remember, stacking the joints. So the back knee underneath the back hip. Lengthen the spine, draw the belly in, and imagine that you're just folding from the hips and the chest is pressing down towards the shin. Head is coming down towards the ankle. Find a place to stay, hold and relax. Heal the posture. Know what's you need to do, modifications. Softening through the right front knee if you're really pulling into those hamstrings. We don't want to overstretch, but we do want to work towards our edge. Letting the breath release you even further into the fold. Reminding yourself that there's an extra 5 kilos of weight in the head. So relax the head and the neck down towards the shin. Doing great in our Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. Try to relax the connective tissue. Try not to tense or tighten the muscles. A few more breaths. Nice and slowly lift yourself up and then drop back. Hips come down, wiggle that foot out, heel toe it out to the side. You can bring a block here to the top left corner. Hand comes down. We're going to go into that monkey twist. So you can reach the arm back. If you feel comfortable to keep the hand there, it can come down onto the thigh or maybe just wrap around. Dropping, twisting. If you wish to always intensify and challenge yourself, then you can add in that quadricep stretch. But we are here for 2 minutes, so it's always your choice, of course. Trying to get on the fleshy part of that left thigh rather than the kneecap. That's why it's important to pad out your mat in these kneeling practices. If you haven't got a blanket, you can always double up the mat underneath you. Good. Lift the chest, lift the heart. Maybe the gaze tracks to the sky. Keep pressing away from the mat through that left palm, dropping the hips deeper. Right hip pulls down as much as left. Doing great. Almost there. Nice and slowly release the foot if you took that option. Bring your hands back and just find your tabletop here. So palms come down, really ground through the back foot and shin. Lift the right heel, sweep it all the way around. And maybe you just come into a tiger press. So you can lift the left arm to take hold of the right foot if you wish to. Just holding for 5, 6, 7 breaths, lifting the knee away from the mat, opening up through that back right hip. We're almost at the end of the first side. Nice and slowly release the hand, release the foot. Take it back into your child's pose. Sway out. Move. Whatever feels good. Hands come underneath the head this time, or a block. So the head is in line with the heart. And then start to roll up through the spine. Chin goes to the chest. Draw the belly back towards the spine. Lift the knees. Bring them back into the center. And find your kneeling position. Okay, taking a drink if you need to before we move to the second side. I'm going to swap sides. Oh, some of them are repeated because they're symmetrical. So kneeling at the back, drawing those heels in, sitting nice and tall. Rolling down, chin to chest, send the forehead down to the knees. Draw the belly back. Slide the hands out. Lift the hips, maybe widening the knees a little bit here. And then coming back into that heart pose for the second time. Maybe you rest on the chin, on the forehead, or onto a block. If you wish to intensify this posture for the next 3 minutes, you can bring your 2 blocks out in front of you and you can press your forearms onto those. Noticing what it feels like for the second time around. I am hoping that you may have found some additional mobility through the first round. And if you were with us on Saturday, obviously this is very familiar to you. These were our kneeling sun salutations, which I recorded today and popped up on Momo Yoga. Remembering long, slow, steady breaths. Remember, not just into the lungs, but deep into the belly. Breathing front and back. A few more breaths here. Lifting the head, breathing in. Maybe shuffling the forearms forward so that you can then come into your forearm plank for recovery. Knees stay down, lift up through the abdomen. You're pushing away through the mat. You're broadening across the back and the shoulders. Few breaths, and then we're going to transfer and transition into Sphinx. So basically the hips come down. You don't move, keeping the elbows underneath the shoulders and opening up through the chest. If that's too deep for you, bring the arms forward a little bit. Try not to let the neck sink between the shoulders. Remember, toes, all 10 toes are connected to the mat and you're pressing down through the entire foot. grounding through the hip bones and the pubic bone. Find the neck in alignment with the spine and see if this feels any different the second time around. Reminding yourself to be present if your mind wanders and you go into distractive thoughts. Bring yourself back to the breath and your physical presence. And then lifting the elbows, widening them out, rolling down, rib cage. And head comes to the back of the hands, big toes touch, and just relax and release everything. Breathe out, sway out through the hips. We come into the seal pose for 1 minute. So again, choosing the option. Either the feet come together or a little bit wider, but make sure that the hips don't turn outwards. So you can be on your fingertips or your palms, either at the end of your mat or outside. Press up. And maybe you feel that you've got a little bit more height, maybe that the spine is, again, just a little bit more open in these back extensions. Make sure that the neck is not too tight. Be aware of the elbow placement. Is the elbow facing forward or facing inwards? How does that change the posture for you? A few more breaths. Drop the hips a little bit more, lift a little bit more, and then widen the elbows, roll down, belly. Slowly, 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 rib cage, chest, head to the back of the hands, big toes touch. Release everything as you breathe out and sway out through the hips. Bend at the knee, lifting the feet, and just windscreen wiper, feet and shins, left and right. Hands come back underneath the shoulders, feet come down. Press up into tabletop. Sway the hips this time from side to side. So head goes left, hips go right. Hips go left, head goes right. Bring back into center. Tuck the toes this time. Draw the toes underneath you for that cow position. So really emphasize the cow this time. Really press back into the toe beds. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Look forward. Try not to arch the throat and the neck too much. Then release the feet and then curl up and round the shoulders into your cat. Let's do that once more. tuck the toes, press into the toe beds. Open up into cow, dropping the belly. And then curl and round, release to the tops of the feet. And back into neutral. Widen the knees. Big toes touch. Stretch back. Into wide leg child's pose. Reach the fingertips forward. See if you get any further depth in that child's pose. So a little bit of a change on our second time around here. We're going to lift up the left arm and thread it through and underneath the right, keeping the head central. So you're just opening up through this left shoulder. Do that because I'm on mic. So dropping down the weight, noticing how tight your shoulders may be. A few more breaths on this left arm. Bring back into center. Left arm goes forward. Lift up and thread the right through and under. Again, drawing that right back of the arm, back of the shoulder downwards underneath you. Noticing which one may be tighter than the other. Letting the chest, the belly fall to the mat. And slowly lifting the head. Release the hand out in front of you. And just come back into your child's pose. Bring the knees together. And start to roll up through the spine. Chin tucks into chest until the shoulders come up above the hips. And start to realign your spine, dropping all of the discs back into place. Relax and roll the shoulders. Release the head and the neck if you need. Coming up to a high kneel, again choosing to widen the knees hip width. Hands come back behind you. Lift up and out of the lower back for your camel. 8 or 9 breaths here, either looking to the sky or looking forward. Lift up out of the hips, pushing the pelvis forward. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Pressing through the tops of the feet, through the shins. Breathe in to bring yourself up to kneeling and then drop back to the heels. Hands come back behind you for that quad stretch. Fingertips either facing forward or to the back. So again, lift the hips. Trying to aim to get the shoulders in line with the hips, in line with the knees. Looking along the body, or if the neck allows, looking to the sky. Nice and slowly, bring yourself back into center. Hands come down for our dragon. So again, using those blocks if you need to. Left foot comes forward this time, either facing the foot forward or tracking that knee as you wing it out to the side. Find a little bit of free movement. A few circles, dropping left and right. Then coming into the dragon, finding stillness. Neck is long away from shoulders, looking just at the front of your mat or down between the hands, maybe closing the eyes, really feeling this one. Reminding yourself to stack those joints. So the front knee over the front ankle, relaxing toes, relaxing tension. And just being completely aware of any differences, maybe some imbalances, or if everything feels equal right and left. Pulling the left hip back and down, relaxing into any tight areas of the hip flexors. Really sending the breath all the way around the body. Nice and slowly. Pull yourself out of the posture by pulling back the hip to the right heel. Bring the left foot into the center. Maybe using those blocks either side of that left leg. Drawing the toes up towards the sky. Again, softening through the back of the knee. We want to lengthen the spine here. Fold from the hips. And just press the chest forward. Relaxing. Body down. And remembering the head. Relaxing the head towards the shin. And stacking that back hip over your right knee. So this is a forward bend with a hamstring lengthener. Notice what's going on. Be fully present with any messages the body is telling you. A few more breaths here. Coming out of the pose, bring yourself back up onto the fingertips. Bend the front knee gently. Heel toe it out to the side, maybe choosing to place the hand on the block for the monkey twist this time, or down onto the mat. Remember, where's the eye of the elbow facing? Sweep the hand back into that monkey twist and maybe rest it on your back thigh or wrap it around to the waist. And then maybe you choose that option of the quad stretch, drawing the heel up towards the buttock, changing the gaze. We're just here for 6 or 7 breaths, deep, long, slow breaths. Pressing away from the mat through that right palm, opening the rib cage, rolling the shoulder open. Dropping left and right hips down. Open, one more breath. Slowly, if you chose the option of the leg, let it float down. Bring yourself back into center. Hands come down, stabilize into the tabletop. Use the core to lift that front foot, sweep it all the way around, and then come into that final posture of the tiger. And you can take hold of the foot if you wish, or both hands come down. Press through the right foot, right shin, and that left palm. Lift the thigh, press the foot into the hand. Last posture on our knees. Slowly release the foot. Roll it back through a child's pose. Roll up through the spine. Come to kneeling. Take a moment to realign. Few deep breaths, that's right and left. Tucking the toes for a toe stretch and a reverse prayer if you wish. Really tuck those toes underneath you. Get those heels underneath the buttocks. Arms sweep back. So we're going to lift the chest up to the sky. And then take a fold forward. Just for a moment, just into that reverse breath. Lengthen the spine away. Lift back up. Toe stretch. Reverse prayer. Close the eyes. 10 breaths. And release the hands. Circle the wrists, release the feet. And let's come down onto our backs. Have your bolster or your blocks handy. You can choose either one for our last posture on our backs. Make sure you're nice and warm. You can put socks on now if you like. Draw both knees in. Roll and massage out. Feel the back body. Connect down onto the mat. Arms come out to the side for a moment and just drop the knees over to the right. Gentle twist. Breathe in, bring to center. Drop the knees over to the left. Breathe in, bring them back. Over to the right once more. Breathe in to center. Breathe out over to the left. Bring to center. And this is our supported fish. So you can choose. You can either use your bolster or you can place the blocks, if they're nice and comfortable blocks, in a T shape. So we want to make sure that that block in the center is not going to cause any pain and dig in. So here's about a good place so that it's not digging in too much into the shoulder blades. And then the block at the back is to support your head. But if you're using a bolster, it's a lot more comfortable. So the bolster goes down through the center line of your body. Make sure there's just a little bit of a gap between the buttocks and that block, and take yourself down comfortably so that you can find where that block supports you best. And then gently take the block to support your head. If you wish to, you can take the feet wide, or you can bring the soles of the feet together into butterfly. Arms go out to the side, palms face up, roll the shoulders open, and close the eyes. This is our last and final posture, a very passive opening of the heart, the lungs, the rib cage, the chest, and the shoulders. Breathe into the upper back, the sides of the body, as much as you breathe into the front. And really allow gravity to be a prop here. Let gravity bear you down into your blocks or your bolster. You're not holding yourself up in any way. It's easy when you come to lie on your back to let the thoughts wander. Remain present with our final posture. It is a yin posture. There is an edge to be found. Holding the pose, finding stillness through body and mind. A deep breath in as you move the hands to the thighs. If you chose the butterfly option, to lift the legs together. If the legs were out straight, just bring them back into restorative rest for a moment. Breathe in, lift the head nice and slowly, looking along the body, and then press into the elbows to come out and take the props away. Move them to the side and then roll down. through the spine, all the way into Shavasana, just for recovery. Notice how it feels to take the proper way. Certainly those cork blocks, they're not spongy like the foam ones. Just notice if you even feel more open across the front and the back body now after that last posture of fish. And preparing for our final relaxation in Shavasana, making yourself warm and comfortable. Dimming lights if you need to, popping eye pillows on, blankets, socks, jumpers. Now lying back for your final relaxation in Shavasana, a time to really feel the benefits of your practice. Letting the body restore. Let the breath oxygenate each and every cell, every organ, every muscle, and every joint. This was a heart-centered Yin practice. Finding kindness and compassion to yourself. A time to rest and restore and digest that parasympathetic nervous system which we were working on last week with the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve starts at the base of the brain, travels into the face, the throat, down into the heart, and down into the digestive system. Head to heart to gut. Sending messages through a superhighway of nerves. Allowing yourself now time to be completely present and a few moments of silence to yourself. Beginning to take a few deeper breaths. Bringing awareness back to your surroundings, back onto your mat and into your body by bringing soft and gentle movement to the hands, to the feet, maybe rolling the head from side to side, gently easing the neck. And never rushing to come out of your Shavasana. That is your precious time, choosing to stretch or draw the knees in, rolling, massaging out, and just rolling over to one side and just pausing there for a moment before bringing yourself up into a comfortable seat. As we close our practice together, hands come into the heart center, Anjali Mudra. Taking a few deep breaths in and out. Feel the expansiveness that you have now created within your lungs, within your heart space, the sides of the body, the front and the back. And an all-over body sequence from head to toe. Maybe returning back to your own personal intention for practice and how you can take that with you into your daily life. Always reminding yourself to take a rest when you need to. And thanking your body, your breath, and your focus today. I thank you all. Namaste.